Hello everyone! So this week we are talking about books with characters that have special needs and sensory story time. So the book that I'm going to be talking about today is Rescue and Jessica, A Life-Changing Friendship. This is based on a true story. So the girl in the book, Jessica, she was hurt in the Boston Marathon bombing a couple years ago, and she lost both her legs and became an amputee. She had to wear prosthetic legs, and she had to learn how to walk on her own, and things were getting rather difficult for her mentally as well as physically. But then she decided to get a service dog who helped her on the road to recovery and how to lead a new and better life as an amputee. So I think this would be a really cool story to read to kids if you are doing one of those therapy dog reading sessions. At the Joplin Public Library, when I visited them for my library tour, they had monthly sessions where they would bring in therapy dogs so kids could listen to stories with them or read stories to the therapy dogs, and then they would talk about how the therapy dog was acting, if they were being good and behaving, or if maybe they were being a little too rambunctious. So it was a good way for kids to interact with therapy dogs and learn more about them, and then also for the therapy dogs to get that training in that they needed when they go to an actual school setting and they'll have to be interacting with kids. For those of you who don't know, therapy dogs are a great way for kids to just let off some steam or to let out any kind of aggression they have just by the dog being there. When I was in high school, we had our high school therapy dog living with us. And so he would go to the special needs classroom, and he would often sit in the classroom and just be a calming presence for them. If they needed to take a moment to chill out, they would just sit by him and they would just pet him or they would talk to him, and he would just be a really good calming energy for them in the room. If they needed to let off some steam, they would just walk him around the school. He was just there to be an emotional support for the special needs children. And so I think this book would be a great way to kind of open that conversation with kids and talk about therapy dogs and how they can help kids with special needs, and then introduce kids to therapy dogs and talk about how therapy dogs are different from service dogs or service animals, because some people might not know the difference. Therapy dogs are there mostly for emotional and mental well-being. Service dogs are there to do specific jobs, as we'll read along in the story. Therapy dogs usually don't get the kind of training that service dogs do in terms of like opening doors or barking when someone needs something. They're there just to be a calming presence and just to be so chill and relaxed. So this is Rescue and Jessica, A Life-Changing Friendship by Jessica Kinsky. On a special farm in the countryside, a pup named Rescue was in training. He was learning to help people who could not see, but he was worried. His trainer had just said, "You aren't meant to being a seeing eye dog." That was hard for Rescue to hear. Helping people who can't see was part of the family business. "The service dog team is better for you," his trainer said. "Service dogs work beside their partners instead of in front of them." "Will I be a good service dog?" Rescue wondered. "What will my new partner be like? Will she like me?" Rescue didn't want to let anyone down. In a hospital in the city, a girl named Jessica was worried. Both of her legs were badly hurt. Everyone hoped her right leg would heal, but the doctors had removed part of her left leg so she could be healthy again. "You're an amputee now, Jessica," the doctor explained. "You'll have to wear a prosthetic leg or use a wheelchair for the rest of your life." That was hard to hear. She had only ever walked on her own two legs. "How will I do things on my own?" Jessica wondered. "When will I be able to walk again? What will my life be like?" Her whole family was worried about her, and she didn't want to let anyone down. Back in the country, Rescue was learning how to be a service dog. When he wore his blue cape, that meant he was in training. He had to stay by his partner's side. He fetched all kinds of things. He even learned how to open doors. "Rescue, you're a natural," said his trainer. At the hospital, Jessica was learning new ways to do things that used to come easily. She used a wheelchair to get around. She practiced getting out of bed differently. She put on a prosthetic leg so she could stand. She was learning how to walk again, even though her right leg was still hurt. "Jessica, you are becoming strong," her doctor said. Rescue was proud of all he had accomplished, but he was still worried. He was named in honor of a brave firefighter. He had big shoes to fill. Rescue wanted to help people, just like his namesake. Jessica knew she had made a lot of progress, but she was frustrated and sad about the things she still couldn't do. She wondered if she could be happy again. She felt like the changes were too big, too much. One day, a visitor came to see Jessica, and she brought her her service dog, Currahee. Jessica saw how a smart dog like Currahee could help her. That day, she started filling out the application to ask for a dog of her own. After a while, Jessica got some very exciting news. Rescue got exciting news too. He also got a new red cape. Finally, the big day arrived. "It's nice to meet you, Rescue," said Jessica. "She looks so nice and so pretty," Rescue thought. Rescue stood up very tall. He hoped she didn't notice his legs were trembling, but his wagging tail gave him away. Jessica smiled a big smile and laughed a big laugh for the first time in a long time. Jessica and Rescue stayed in the country for a few weeks, and Rescue showed her all the things he could do. "You're amazing," Jessica told Rescue. "You think I'm amazing," Rescue thought. "I think you're amazing." Back in the city, Rescue and Jessica got used to working together. Rescue brought her the things she needed. He opened things that were hard for her to reach. Rescue barked if Jessica needed someone. If she tripped, he would hold steady so she could get back up. Rescue and Jessica were always together, but when she didn't need his help, Rescue really liked to sleep. Jessica knew that even though Rescue was special, he was a regular dog too. She made sure that Rescue had playtime every day. But Jessica still wasn't completely healthy. One day, her doctor told her that her right leg would have to be removed too. She would need to wear 2 prosthetic legs. This didn't get any easier for Jessica to hear. That night, after the doctor removed her right leg, Rescue knew just what to do to help Jessica, all on his own. Rescue and Jessica had to start all over. Slowly but surely, they learned how to do all the things they needed to do together. They did chores together and played together and snuggled together. For the first time in a long time, Jessica felt happy, and that made Rescue happy too. "You changed my life, Rescue," she said. "I couldn't have done this without you." "I'm so proud of us," he thought. "You rescued me, Rescue," said Jessica. But the truth was, they had rescued each other. So there's a little author's note kind of explaining the story behind Jessica and Rescue. Like I said at the beginning, Jessica wasn't a little girl when she was injured, she was an adult. And this is some information about the company and the organization that trained Rescue and other service dogs. So that was Rescue and Jessica, a life-changing friendship.